Good morning. What's up, guys? Hope you're all having a good Friday here thus far. Jackson Hole day, baby, but we are pretty much ready to rock. You can see volatility is not even all that low. ATR is about 20 here on the 2-minute chart, but those candles are looking very small. So I think what we're going to have to do here, that's just, of course, by comparison to the Jackson Hole volatility. So what we should probably do is something like that. Now, I get it. For you guys, you're like, well, contextually, I can't really see enough now. I don't know. We'll go back and forth. Either way, how we doing? Good morning. Niles, good morning. ABB, what's up? How we doing? Derek, Lucky, Roy, Faba, good to see you all. Gaines, good morning, brother. How we doing? All right. How are you guys all doing so far? Any of you guys trade Jackson Hole? I know some of you guys are some degenerates, and you probably had 80 minis coming into Jackson Hole. Sounds about right for some of you, huh? Borneo Cornell, how we doing? Good morning. All right, we are 48 seconds out here from the rollover of this 2-minute bar. And, you know, actually, I myself am having a hell of a time looking at this. I might have to zoom back out, man. I might have to call it here. There we go. All right, we'll look at it like this. We are 20 seconds out. ATR is 20. Good ATR for this time of day on the 2-minute. It has been good lately, much better than it was, man. I am just so grateful for the volatility returning. A few weeks ago, we'd be looking at the charts on a 2-minute chart this time of day, and ATR would say 5.9. And it's like, okay, I mean, we can trade it, but I mean, what are you going to do? Size up to 4 times your normal size? I suppose you could, but then the problem is Trump sends one Truth Social out, and ATR is back to 27 for 4 minutes, right? So it's like, well, you know, what the hell do you do in that scenario? But good thing we don't have to worry about that right now because ATR is working with us. So let's get to work, man. Minute 30 out. I'm looking at this as quite the range, okay? But realistically, we're looking at, I don't know, you call that a flat top, you could call this kind of a wedge, right? I'll probably just call this a wedge with a flat top. All right, leave it like that for now. Okay. All right. We are 25 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. If we get this 2-minute bar closing as a bear bar near its low, I'm going to have to get long and take a bet on this range. Okay, now could you also take this to the short side? I mean, yeah, but right now I got to bet on this range. Okay, and I will just manage risk, keep it relatively tight. Limit buy out. Are we going to get a fill? I got to get a fill in the next 10 seconds, absolute max. No fill, got to pull it. All right, next bar here. Next bar, didn't get a fill. Bulls went without me. That's all right. That's all right. On to the next. Yeah, I tell you, I cannot stand looking at this the way it is. think we're gonna have to look at it like this until that that big giant bar from earlier today kind of falls off the end, huh? You know, it is kind of funny because I like to leave my charts auto scale. I don't like to have to move it around manually. I know that a lot of you guys are like, just move it manually, man. You can look at it whatever way you want. I get it. I get it. But when you get a big move, I just want it to kind of automatically not just go off screen, right? So we'll look at it this way until that big giant volatility from earlier kind of calms down a little bit. All right, 22 seconds out here. I will get the copy trader engaged. What I'm looking for here is, can we get a bull bar closing near its high? Let's get a stop limit buy ready. Big ol' wick, no trade. Cancel that, next bar. 2 minutes out. I mean, realistically, we'd probably have to draw that like this. Again, flat top. There's also the look. When we're presented with a really obvious kind of, and I get it. I mean, looking at this, I know, guys, it's a pain in the ass, but we'll just deal with it. When on big volatile days like this, you always end up with charts that never really seem to fit on the screen quite right. When we're presented with a situation like this, where you have a wedge that could also look like a wedge with a flat, I prefer to just look at the wedge with a flat until it is undeniably the other way around. Okay, so we'll continue to look at it this way until we really can no longer do that. And that does change the decision making. That changes a close up top here from a short to a long. We are 17 seconds out. Let's see if we would even get that set up to begin with. Copy trader ready to rock. I don't think we're gonna get it, are we? Oh man. All right, no trade, next bar here. All right, 60 seconds out here. Let's see if this bull bar can actually grow quite a bit. If it could, I'd bet against the breakout personally. Let's see if that can happen here. All right, I know, we got 3 consecutive bull bodies. 3 consecutive bull bodies. But a high close out of this bull bar is a short for me. because we would be coming in if we got that to the lower third. I'm sorry, the lower end of the top third. Come on, Bulls. Nothing there. Next bar. Next bar. Needed this bar to close pretty much up here. Grow a little bit coming into the close. See, they're still a little bit hesitant to take over these wicks. The Bulls are, that is. All right. Are we going to get what we're looking for here? We have 47 seconds left on the 2-minute, a minute 45 left on the 5-minute chart, so we do not have a dual rollover. All right, 30 seconds out here. You can see that wick up higher. And then back downside plays a big role. It really depends how this bar closes. Though right now, either way, a small bear body, short with a stop limit sell is what I would do. Larger bull body, I'd be getting short with a limit order up here near the high end of this range, betting against the break of the flat top. Let's see what we get. 4 seconds. Absolutely nothing. We'll break the ice here. Don't worry about it. Lee, good morning. Scott, DH, how we doing, guys? Good to see everybody. All right, let's see here. Do we get a 5th consecutive bull body? If we get a 5th consecutive bull body with a cleaner close than the previous bar, then all of a sudden I gotta wait for one more bar to get more information from the bulls. That right there was the rollover of the 5-minute. Not too much going on over there, at least that I can do anything with. All right. ATR dipping a little bit, but still staying reasonable. 17.8 on the ATR. A 5th consecutive bull body like this. Yeah, wicking back. Okay. Now, if this bar turns into a small-ish bear bar that closes beneath this wick low, I'm going to have to get short. Using a stop limit sell if I can get a fill. All right, Bears, give us something good. Give us something good. I'm going to clean this wedge up. Just clean things up as we go. It's still there. We know it's still there. All right, 20 seconds out. We had 5 consecutive bull bodies, shrinking bull bodies. You guys see that? And now we're getting that first bear bar in the sequence. If we get a nice clean bear close near the low of the bar, the current bar that is, right? I will have to get short. Stop limit sell engaged. Place that, give that about 20 seconds. Beauty, and I'm gonna go ahead and risk just... I'm going to risk just the signal bar. Otherwise, we can play that game all day. You know, oh, I'll go a tick higher. We'll go a tick higher, tick higher. Then you end up risking the whole curl, which, yeah, is only, 5 more points. But 5 points is 5 points. And if we reclaim the signal bar, that idea is dead in the water anyway. All right, Bears, come on now. ATR about 17. Keeping an eye on that. See if the Bears can take this down through a little bit. Good, good, good. Beauty. Half an ATR. Punch out. Quick little scalp. Let's move on. All right, 52 seconds out here from the close of this new 2-minute bar. Yeah, I mean, interestingly, guys, that bar, see how this body closed just slightly bigger than half an ATR. Half an ATR was like 9-ish point. Well, it really was like 8.5 points. We'll call it 9. And this bar, the body of it, 10, 12 points, but realistically from the entry point, which is just below this wick, yeah, we wicked down further. But it closed at just slightly, maybe 10 and a half points from the entry, 11 points. And half an ATR was like 8.5, 9 points. It's not an accident that I'm shooting for typically half to a whole ATR. And what's an ATR? I get that question all the time. I get, hey, what's your strategy? It's like, well, we're talking price action all day, man. I mean, come on, pay attention. You'll figure it out pretty damn quick. It's not that complicated. The ATR is crucial, though. It really helps you get context as to what kind of ass to make out of the market. And, the risk is kind of tied into that because the bars tie into the ATR, and typically on these scalps, you guys see, on a lot of these scalps, I'm either risking a curl or the signal bar itself, which is tied directly into the ATR, which is what I'm using to, figure out, hey, what ass do I make to the reward side? It's all tied together. 30 seconds out. Let's see what we get here as far as a close out of the Bears. But I gotta tell you, as we go sideways here more, I mean, really, you could draw this and I wouldn't be mad at you. You could say, I don't know, man, that looks pretty reasonable. I'd say, yeah, you're damn right, that looks pretty reasonable. That's kind of tough. I'd like to see that break. We're coming off of a big bull push right into a sideways little channel. Let's just see this thing break, and then we can make a better decision. Which way does it break? 50-50. Totally 100% 50-50, at least in my experience here on a situation like this. Doesn't mean we can't take a trade. If we get a bull bar closing above this previous bar's wick high, we're getting long. Scalping, baby. Come on, bulls. Give us something to work with here. Give me something good. All right, 25 seconds out. Bulls, if we can get a close, there we go. If we can get a close above 618.50-ish, we'll call it. Basically, if we can get a close above that previous bar's wick high, you know what I'm going to have to do. Oh, bulls. Oh, bulls, you spineless. Oh, man. All right, next bar. Big old wick. No trade. All right, 25 seconds out here. If the bulls can give us a close above this previous bar's wick high, all of a sudden, within reason now, bulls. Come on. Hold it up. Not too up. Just hold it right where it is. Give us a close, a very reasonable close. Stop limit buy, ready to rock. Let's see if we can get a place. Not half bad. Slight adjustment. Beauty. Give that about 15 more seconds. See if we can get a fill. I want quick resolution. No fill by then. Gotta pull it. And we will. We'll get a fill. Suck that up. I'm not going to risk the full curl. We're just going to risk the signal bar here on this scalp. One tick higher. There. We'll risk that. All right. Let's see if we can get a bull push back up, backfill the other half of that range. Bears, don't do that. I don't want to see that now. Come on. Oh, Bears. Oh, son of a gun. All right, stopped. That's all right, move on. Next trade here. All right, Bears immediately. You guys see this? Oh yeah, we went a couple of ticks above this bar. Got filled. Bears immediately slapped it back down. Now, what a lot of people like to do here is they go, oh, new level, right? I lost, so that must be a new level because it's impossible that I was just wrong. No, that's not, no. Look at the big range, right? So that's what we're going to keep looking at here. And this is flat, man. So honestly, I would prefer if this thing would just break and we could kind of get to work with a different look. But if it wants to stick around in here for a while, I mean, that's all right. It's not all up to me, right? All right, there we go, Bears. Good work. Good work, Bears. Now, it starts to get interesting because we're coming kind of right into the 20 EMA on the 5 minute. You're looking at a 2 minute chart right now, but on the 5 minute chart, gotta update the trade count. That's 2 trades on the day. On the 5 minute chart, that 20 EMA is at 570. Okay, so I can't have this bear bar growing too big. Otherwise, the risk profile starts to not make sense as far as structuring a trade that does make sense. So let's keep an eye on this here. Very interesting here. 30 seconds out. Range on this bar is sizable. Over 25 points. I need one more bar. Need a little bit more information. We're about 13 points away, 12 points away from that 20 EMA on the 5, and with a bar 25 points in size. I need one more bar here. Get a little bit more information. Minute 43 out. All right. Let's see what we get here. 20 seconds out. Yeah, we have a shrinking bear body. It doesn't look like it's going to close up clean unless we get a last second adjustment here. Let's see. Bull's coming in trying to wick that thing. Yeah, there's nothing there for me. Next bar here, 2 minutes. All right, we got Trump making an announcement here in about 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Nothing to do on this 2-minute bar anyway, most likely. 12 seconds out from the close. All right, next bar here. Okay, it looks like the Trump announcement is going to be on AP. Can anyone check? Are they live? I think they're live already, aren't they? Yeah, they're live already. All right, when Trump walks out, if I don't, or I guess if for all of us, if we don't see it, whoever sees it first, just say, hey, Trump's out. Benefit of community. Help each other keep track here. This market might be waiting for him, huh? See his little channel breaking. Little risk off, maybe, heading into Trump. Let's see. Whole bunch of volatility right now. I gotta tell you, it would surprise me heading into Trump. Right above the 20 EMA on the 5. Of course, that, the Trump is a much bigger deal. But, I mean, that is there. Gotta pay attention to it. Big old self-fulfilling prophecy. Nothing more, nothing less. But if we see this become a thing, basically until Trump talks, wouldn't be all that surprising. Clean that up as we go. All right, guys, I'll tell you what, while we wait for Trump, I'm going to take a very quick break. I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll get some more trades in here today. We're not even close to finished up, man. Two trades on the day. That's weak. Let's keep going. All right. Welcome back here. We are waiting for Trump. He is, I believe, not out yet, correct? Who knows, man? This is part of the life of a trader. When you have a big announcement, we're making an announcement, and no one says anything about what it's about. We kind of have to wait, because this announcement, I mean, it could move the market 400 points. Will it? Probably not. But hell, if it does, I don't really want to be in a scalp when it happens. So we end up sitting here waiting until we just rip off the Band-Aid, which, you know, who knows when that's going to be. So, again, if he comes out, whoever sees it first, man, hit the chat. Say, hey, Trump's out. Well, we got about 35 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. But I gotta tell you, doing something would be relatively irresponsible at this point. I mean, could we sneak in a scalp? Yeah, maybe. Problem is, if Trump walks out and starts talking with pretty much no delay, he walks out and starts talking in 8 seconds, it's like, oh man. There's a delay in the live streams, so we wouldn't even know that he's out yet. The headline hits, boom, 250 points. Again, it probably won't move very much, but if it does, that's just not worth the black swan risk of an expected event, right? So, no big deal. We'll kind of wait and see. Maybe if it gets delayed 45 minutes, we'll have some time to actually put on a couple trades in between. Whiplash, you think it'll move the market the same way Jerome Powell's did? It's impossible to know. Which is why, you know, ideally he'll come out relatively on time, make the announcement, and we can move on. Hey, listen, this is the life of a trader. You want to be a trader? Sometimes we're sitting waiting for Trump to come out and say, who the hell knows? Who knows what he's going to say? I don't think we really got any hints, did we? I think we kind of have an idea. But who knows? Yeah, see, I have a question. Did any of you guys get caught short on the Jackson Hole candle? that couple of 5-minute bars just after 10 a.m. Eastern. Were any of you guys sitting short when that hit? I know at least one of you were, and you're not going to say anything. You're like, yeah, fuck, I was. Someone cop to it. It's all right. Maybe don't trade during Jackson Hole next year, huh? All right. So, those of you guys just joining us here, we're waiting for Trump to make some comments. The Roensch team has some cameras in the Oval Office, so we'll get a live feed here. Just kidding. We'll watch the Associated Press, or at least I'll keep an eye on the Associated Press stream and just see when he walks out, and then I'll let you guys know any headlines. We're not going to watch it or anything. I don't want to sit here and watch, someone else's stream when we can just get the news headlines and focus on what matters, which is trading. So, a minute 25 left here on this 2-minute bar. Yeah, Lee. Looks like a beautiful day in DC. That's about what we're getting from the from the Associated Press stream, man. No Trump yet. No Trump yet. When he comes out, hopefully he'll just rip off the Band-Aid quickly. Again, we're not going to watch it, but I'll just let you guys know, or chat will let you know if they see it before I do, that Trump is starting to speak. I'll let you guys know what the big announcement is when we get it, and then we can get back to what matters here, which is trading. I would love to trade right now, but again, we don't know what the announcement is. Does it move the market 400 points? I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out. There's no edge in that, right? Can you explain your trading strategy at all, please, while we sit and wait? Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, I get a lot of strategy questions. It's not that simple. I mean, it's very simple, but I can't just sit here and say, I'm waiting for 18 bars to do this, and this one has to be 6 points, and this one has to be 22 points, and this indicator has to show, like, this pretty pink color. I mean, good God, I'm mixing price action with market context, and the way that you're going to learn best for nearly every single one of you is by watching the trades be done. If you care at all to trade the way that I trade, which you don't have to trade the way I trade the way somebody else trades, trade the way that you develop. But if you're like, hey, I like the way, Nico trades, I want to trade the same way or a similar way with tweaks that he does, watch me trade is how you're going to learn how I do things. I'm just looking for price action setups, which essentially are in a trend market. Let's start with the simpler one. 2 to 3 consecutive bodies, bull or bear, growing ideally. It's not going to be perfect necessarily, with continuations trades entering with stop limit buys and sells. Okay, now in wider ranges, I'll do a similar thing. In tighter ranges, we took one earlier. I'll look for maybe 2 consecutive bars and then an opposing bar that's smaller. Okay, and I'll enter with a stop limit. If it's a smaller bull bar, buy above that bar, look for a reversion back into the range. Vice versa, if it's 2 consecutive bull bars, smaller bear bar, stop limit sell, looking for a reversion back into the range. Now the question is there room inside of the range? What's the ATR? Does it justify the risk? Is the bar too large to justify the ATR reward potential on the trade? There's a lot that goes into this. Now, a lot of you guys have watched the stream for months, and you guys picked up on the way that I trade already months ago. So me sitting here talking about it like everybody else does isn't going to help you, which is why I'm not going to sit here and talk about it all fucking day. We're going to do it, right? We're going to do the thing, and if you care to watch, happy to have you. And I'm happy to answer questions, but I mean, like, you know, straight up, it's trading is complicated. Well, let me put it this way. Trading is really hard, and it's complicated until it clicks. Your strategy clicks. And then it's just a matter of being in tip-top mental shape each day. Don't come in and trade at 60%, right? And make the best decisions you can. Understand how the chips fall. Be okay with it. Maintain a level head. Keep an eye on your data. Keep your finger on the pulse of the overall market context and do the best you can. And you'll likely end up with a statistical edge at some point that your job for the rest of your life is to just maintain. Getting a lot of consecutive bear bodies. I mean, shit, if we weren't waiting on Trump, I would love to get short. I don't know. I mean, do we have time? I don't. If the stream cuts and Trump is making the announcement in 4 seconds, I don't want to find out if this is going to be a 250-point market mover. It's probably going to be not much. But if it is, that's a bad trade to take. Even if it goes in our favor, it's still not a great trade. I mean, that's gambling at some point. That's no longer trading with edge. Two very different things that can cross over. You know, the edge can cross over in gambling territory very quickly if you allow it to. People mix that up. They say all trading is gambling. No, it's not. I mean, all gambling is gambling. All trading is not gambling. You want to tell yourself that to make you feel better, have at it, man. Yeah, hopefully Trump will pop out here soon. Make whatever announcement this is, and we can move on here with our day. Get back to trading here. A lot of nice bars here, though, I gotta tell you. I think this is just risk off coming into Trump. I will answer a few questions here. When you are managing risk, do you consider the prop firm account size for example, like a 25K account, 50K account, 300K account, or the drawdown. Roy, I always consider the drawdown. This is something really important for you guys to understand. The account size for prop firms is a marketing tool. It means nothing. The drawdown is what's important. And again, I don't say that in like, oh, prop firms are bad. Like, I love prop firms. Prop firms are one of the greatest opportunities, I would say, of all time for traders. You don't even have to move to Manhattan and sit at a desk every day anymore to trade like prop. It's a little different, of course. Incredible opportunity if you can develop the edge. If you have no edge, don't waste your time. Or, you know, if you have no intention, let me rephrase. If you have no intention of developing the edge, then probably don't waste your time. But even if you don't have an edge right now and you're like, but I'm going to develop the edge, huge opportunity. Okay. But it's a marketing tool, which, can you blame them? Of course, it's a marketing tool, which is, also cool. Marketing's awesome. But always consider the actual drawdown. The size of the account means nothing at all. It's just a way to label the account so it's less confusing. So people are like, oh, okay, I have a 150K account or a 300K account. It sounds nice. And it's a way to label them and differentiate them from each other. And of course, marketing tool. What platform do you use? Is it true that you can't trade during news? I am on NinjaTrader, and I am plugging in my prop firms through Rhythmic and Tradeovate. Now, whether or not you can trade during news depends on the prop firm. You got to check the rules for the prop firm you're trading at. Take Profit Trader, you're not allowed to trade the big news. They have a calendar that lays it out very clearly. Depends on the firm. Depends on the firm. Some firms you can trade whatever you want. All right, we are still waiting on Trump here. Let's just get this thing out of the way so we can move on. Now, listen, I know a lot of you guys are like, yeah, this kind of sucks. I wish, couldn't. I want to trade this. It's FOMO. It's FOMO. You watch money float by all day, every day. By 9:31 a.m. Eastern time, every single weekday of your life, that the market's open at least, you've missed out on an amount of money that would have changed your life had you just bought a very specific, in hindsight, options contract in a big quantity just before the market closed before. By 9:31, a life-changing amount of money's poof, gone. You missed it. If that doesn't cure your FOMO, I don't know what will. I can't help you at that point. Well, I got to tell you, some nice sequences here that we can't quite hit yet because we're waiting on Trump. DH. Somebody's speaking with reason here. Very good. He says, nobody ever accuses the House of gambling. If you let the law of large numbers work in your favor, it's not gambling, it's risk management. Yep. Yep, it's statistical edge. If you have a negative expected value, which is why most traders lose, because they have a negative EV per trade, right? Which means you don't have any statistical edge. Then you're going to lose the more trades you take. But if you are able to develop a statistical edge, which, just based on a big sample size, means that you have a positive expected value per trade on average, then the more trades you take without giving that edge away, on average, the more money you make. A very basic concept. But for some reason, the trading community, a lot of people just refuse to grasp. And I think it's because a lot of traders are they're just gambling addicts, kind of closet gambling addicts, which I get it, I guess. It is, gambling's kind of a motherfucker. You gotta separate it. Don't get bit by that bug. But if you want to look at, people say, all trading is gambling. Again, it's not. But okay, it's not. If you wanted to look at it from a basic perspective, profitable trading is the opposite of gambling. It's being the house. So it's kind of just a misunderstanding of what the business model of trading actually is. Maybe the way that they do it is gambling, which is fair. Most people just speak their truth in all reality. Niles, can you talk through what you would have done on these trades? Yeah, 100%. While we wait for Trump, I can talk through a couple of trades here with no to the right bias. Here, let's start here. See this bar? Would have loved to short this with a stop limit sell just below here. I would have risked the signal bar. Since the signal bar is a little bit bigger, about 25, 26 points, I would have had to look for a full ATR. At that time, that full ATR would have been about 17, 18. Now, would we have gotten it? Yeah, we would have gotten it, just barely. Would I have gotten filled? Yeah, probably. Depends how quickly this wicked down, but we had some time. I would have gotten it. Aside from that, see this shrinking bull body? Would have looked for a smaller trade here, just risk the signal bar. Would we have gotten it? Yeah, I would have gotten it. Would I have gotten long on this bull bar? Maybe, but honestly, I probably would have said, I don't know, man. This is kind of like worrying me. So probably not. Here, I would not, it'd be cool to say, oh yeah, I would have shorted that. I would not have shorted this bar here because we closed very close to the wick. Listen, guys, I don't care. Like, I'll just tell you, oh, I would have taken this. It would have been a loser. That's trading. What the fuck? That's trading. It doesn't make you a bad guy to lose a trade. It's just separated, dude. If you're gonna win, if you're gonna make a lot of money long term in trading, you're gonna lose a shit ton of trades. That's a good thing. It means you had risk management to stay in the game. All right, come on now, Trump. Let's rip off this band-aid so us traders here can get back to work. Ian says, I'm profitable with a 25% batting average. Don't tell me about losing trades. Yeah, man, you can, yeah, of course. You can make money with a 2% hit rate. And you can lose money with a 98% hit rate. The trader's equation, right? You gotta combine your win rate on average with your average reward-to-risk ratio. Usually, you're going to want to classify by type of setup, maybe by volatility environment, maybe by market environment, range or trend market, so you have a little bit better data to go off of. And that data is for you. It's not for anybody else. I know a lot of people don't want to track their data because they don't really want to look at it. They don't really want to face the reality. It's like going to the doctor. Like, you start getting older, it's a lot of people are like, I don't want to go. I don't want to know what's wrong with me. It's like, yeah, I guess. I get it, I guess. But when you're trading, I mean, this is your livelihood. So track your data. You don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to tell anybody about it. Just keep an eye on it. Whether it's good or bad, it's all yours. All right? Look at it, and if it says, I have a negative EV. That's all right. Swallow that pill, work on it. It's okay. Everyone has a negative EV when they start. And not even when they start, man. A lot of people who don't work on it, they have a negative EV 15 years in, believe it or not. It's crazy. Just because they never worked on it. You'd rather get that straightened out before a decade in, ideally. All right, here. So we are waiting on Trump. Trump has a announcement to make, scheduled for 11 o'clock. So we're running about 30 minutes behind here. I just want to get this announcement out of the way so we can get back to work, back to trading. Again, hey, you want to be a trader? This is the life sometimes. Question here, do you still keep the 0.5 to 1% risk management on evals? No. No, I do not. In personal accounts, it makes a lot of sense to risk a half, 0.5 to 2% of your total capital on any given trade. 2% I think is pretty aggressive. But no, on evals, in prop trading in general, that assuming you have a positive ROI on average per account, that goes up. It goes up for me too. Compared to the drawdown of the account, right? Not the account size. The drawdown, it's higher. For evals, I trade evals bigger. I trade minis, often multiple minis on evals. Why? Because your time is you want to trade 3 hours every afternoon for 2 weeks to try to pass a single eval. Eventually, when you're getting payouts and you have a positive ROI on average per account, which is what matters in the prop game, right? It's kind of a different business model than regular trading a little bit. It's similar because, the people say, the expenses for the prop firms. Well, it's similar to losing trades in the personal account. They're both just expenses, right, for the overarching business model. But I trade prop evals bigger because mental capital allocation and opportunity cost. Right, I don't want to spend too much time in there. They're too, listen, this might sound like whatever. Prop evals, test accounts, they're too cheap for me to spend as much time as I would trading as small in a funded account in the eval. They're just too cheap. There's too much opportunity cost involved. So I trade them a little bit bigger. I still take good trades, but I'll take, maybe B minus, C plus and up in an eval. Whereas in a regular account, a funded account, I'll take B and up. All right, how we doing here? Still waiting on Trump. Question here, does that mean it might take you a try or two to pass your evals because you're just trying to get them done quick? Well, again, I'm still taking like C plus and up trades as like a minimum, right? Now my grading's a little more strict than some people, so a C plus is still, for a lot of people, my C plus might be like their B. You know, not to say I'm the most strict in the world as far as grading scale, of course, but that's just, I mean, that is the reality. So just for context. But I mean, yeah, no, I'm not going to pass every single eval I ever trade. The lower ones are a little bit quote unquote easier, like a 25K, a 50K, of course. The 300K on average might take more like attempts on average because you have like Apex, much bigger target to trailing drawdown ratio, right? So it's just fundamentally a little bit more difficult to hit. But the 50Ks are the pass rate is quite reasonable. The 300Ks is going to naturally be a little bit lower. But I mean, listen, guys, like in prop trading, again, if you're trading the evals a little more aggressively because you know your cost all in. If you haven't done this yet, all of you should probably do this. Figure out what is your average account cost to fund it. Does it take you 1.5 evals on average, or does it take you 10 evals on average to get a funded account? And then factor in the activation fee, right? Okay, here's my average cost of a funded account. Now, out of all the funded accounts I've ever had, how much have I taken in payouts? That tells you, okay, what's your average ROI per account? If that number is positive, you need to be more aggressive. If that number is negative, you need to work on your edge a little bit more. Very simple. Just run the numbers, figure out your math. All right, we're still waiting on Trump here. He's got an announcement to make. Scheduled for 11 o'clock Central. We are 37 minutes late on the announcement. But again here, the responsible thing to do as a trader, as a scalper, is to let that initial headline hit, and then we can get back to work. But again, hey, this is one of those things that if you're going to be a trader, you just got to deal with. A lot of the times these announcements, these events, they start late. Usually, almost always, the Fed is right on time. But no matter who's in office, man, it's been everybody. The presidential announcements, they're almost always late. And then every once in a while, they're on time. So you end up with this weird window where you have to kind of wait. Man, it's like when the electrician or the plumber is coming over to the house to work on something, and they're like, all right, I'll be there on Friday between noon and 7 p.m. It's like, come on, dude. Like, can I have like a little smaller window? See how volatility's kind of coming in here? Much smaller range on these bars lately. Market's waiting on Trump. All right, guys, I'm going to take a really quick break just for a few minutes. I will be back after the break, and when I get back, Trump's going to be out talking, and we'll be ready to rock. All right, be back in a few. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So I believe it sounds like from Associated Press that Trump's big announcement is delayed. Now, my question becomes, just as a trader, again, whatever the announcement is, who cares? I just want to know, is this going to move the market 300 points, or are we free and clear? I just want to avoid being in a trade when Trump drops the announcement. Okay, it sounds like from AP that this announcement is delayed. And it also sounds like we will at least get some kind of heads up before Trump actually sits in the Oval Office to make the announcement. So it seems to me like the market was waiting kind of through here. And perhaps we'll get some more normal movement now that, it's known, at least to the world, that this is going to be delayed. And we're no longer really just waiting on, is it going to happen in the next 8 seconds? Who knows? So I think we're free and clear until we get the announcement that Trump is ready to rock, as far as this announcement is concerned. So, let's look for setups, man, until Trump's ready to go. We'll have to keep an eye on the stream. To see if he pops up out of nowhere. But since I am a scalper and not a swing trader, I think we can get to work here. So, let's get to work. We're a minute 40 out from the close here, this 2-minute bar. Anyone who is newer here, we are looking at a 2-minute chart right now on MNQ. Trade and price action, of course, coupled with market context. So minute 20 out here. Let's see what we get as far as a close here out of this 2-minute chart. ATR currently 15. All right. We are 27 seconds out. If the bulls here can flip this bar and give us a half-decent clean close, bull close near the high, meaning like a bull bar closing right here between 55-ish and 60-ish, I would short that rollover, of course. Doesn't look like we're going to get it, does it? Bears taking it right back down. Inside close incoming, most likely. There is the rollover inside close, closing inside of the previous bar's body. Next bar here, minute 53 out. Let's see what we get. Again, keeping a very close eye out for Trump's return to the White House, where he'll sit in the Oval Office, most likely, and make an announcement. All right. This to me, right? I mean, right? Tough to trade any kind of price action in the face of that. Now, eventually this will break. Which direction? 50-50. 50-50. ATR is holding up half decent, but it is fading. We're now below 14 on the ATR, at least here on the 2-minute chart. Let's see if we can get some kind of a break from this wedge, and then I would be interested, depending how the bar looked, in fading the break. meaning looking to go opposite the break back into the little range. Yes, all right. Associated Press is live on the live cam. So I think we might be getting this announcement within reason here relatively soon. I know you guys can relate. Other people just don't get it, man. But it's like, what's the most frustrating part of your job? Most people have something, reasonable to say. For us, it's like when the president's 45 minutes late and I have to sit on my hands and not work. That's the worst part of my job. You wouldn't get it. All right, well, here's the breakout. Little attempt, obviously very small, of this wedge. Most likely just a little risk-off mentality here as we come into Trump going live, probably within... I would assume he'll be probably making the announcement within 15 minutes. We'll see. Of course, we're not entirely sure. All right, those of you guys new here, just joining us, we are waiting for President Trump to make his announcement. It was originally scheduled for noon Eastern time. We're now coming into 1 Eastern time, but it looks like this may be dropping soon. No official word yet on when this will be hitting as far as timing. But the market is currently in hurry up and wait mode. You can kind of tell by the action. You see there's a lot of wicks. A lot of wicks. Then something changes. Hey, we might be getting it soon. Maybe a little risk-off mentality. It's not really typical price action. Now, of course, most likely this announcement is to the market, most likely not going to have too much of a lasting impact. However, on the off chance that he says something and it moves 400 points, obviously we don't want to be in a scalp when that hits. All right, now I want to hear some speculation from you guys in the chat. Of course, we're waiting on Trump's announcement here. Today was Jackson Hole Day. Though, you would think that this announcement that they're keeping very under wraps would be related to tariffs, right? What if it's related to the Fed in some way, is my question. I would think if it were Fed related, they wouldn't have some big announcement thing scheduled. I'm very interested to hear what you guys think. Is this Fed related, tariff related, or something entirely different? I have a feeling from what I'm seeing that this is Canadian tariff related. Yeah, Canada tariffs. Announcement on a new crypto coin. Now, what if Trump comes out and he just says, big announcement here today. The entire stock market will now be treated as it should have been 20 years ago after everybody overreacted to the dot-com bubble and said, we have to protect everybody. We have to protect everybody. Let's take a note out of China's book. And he'll say the entire stock market will now be treated the same way the futures market is treated. This is America, damn it. And the PDT rule is lifted. Happy trading. That's the announcement. I think that's what he's going to come out and say. One can hope. Now, if we weren't waiting on Trump, of course, the price action's going to be different following this bar than it would be if we weren't waiting on Trump. But, for example, just for context, to talk you guys through something while we wait here for Trump's announcement. If this bull bar did close, or does close above the wick of the previous bar, right where my cursor's at, on a normal, or in a normal market, again, not waiting for a presidential announcement, I would have to get long using a stop limit buy above this bar. So I would have gotten filled if we were not waiting for Trump, looking for a scalp upside. Now, of course, would that have played out? We'll never know because this market is waiting on Trump right now. That's a trade you guys see me take basically every day. That's a daily setup. Yeah, nice push there. All right, well, we are at 1:02 Eastern time. Still no announcement here from Trump. We've got the crew at AP standing outside the Oval Office. Just waiting. I imagine their job is probably more frustrating than our job. Uh-oh. I think the AP stream for Trump's announcement just went black. I think they rug pulled it. Come on, man. All we're trying to do is get back to work. Let's get this announcement out of the way. We can get back to what matters here. Putting on trades. All right. What a beautiful office, huh? All right, the AP stream there heading into the Oval Office. I imagine we'll be getting the announcement here. He is sat. Trump is in the chair. Trump has a, just context here. Trump has a hat on that says Trump was right about everything. So let's see what the announcement is here. We'll have a first look at the market's reaction to the announcement here once we get it. We'll see if it's a nothing burger or if this thing goes 400 points. Let's see here. Oh, man. If we get an actual crucial headline, you guys will be the first to know. Market's pushing. 45 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Trump's still speaking. Again, still waiting on to see if we get some kind of headline that made this whole wait worthwhile. 5 consecutive bull candles. FIFA was my second guess. Alright, big old doji on that last 2-minute bar. You gotta be careful. I mean, we could still get to a serious drop here as far as dropping an announcement. Let's see. I mean, again, typically the Oval Office is for bigger announcements here. We'll see. As traders, as scalpers, just it's not worth the risk. We can wait, and then we can get right back to work. Getting some volatility here out of the market. There's an upside push, about 30-point push. We'll see if that holds. I don't trust a damn thing until Trump's off camera. Just because you never know, man. We're in the Oval Office. Are we in there for a reason? He might say something that moves this thing 200 points still. We don't know. Yeah, I mean, that little volatility after that mention makes me wonder. I mean, we know that they do, right? But it makes me wonder, like, the nuance of it. Institutions. They're clearly running AI-powered algos that have a real-time tap into the talk, we'll call it, right? And they've got to be scanning for certain phrasing with kind of nuanced variation that goes into the decision making of the algorithm for how, you know, how's the vibe of what he's saying. He mentioned stock market in a positive way, buy, sell 8 points higher. I mean, we know that this kind of thing goes on. All right, as soon as this announcement is over, we'll be getting back to work, but you can, I mean, you can tell just based on the timing of his mention of the market and this push, we know that the algorithms are just tapped in right now to this, which changes how the price action even moves. So does a price action trader like myself even realistically have edge right at this exact moment while Trump is speaking? Probably not. Probably not very much. But as soon as he's done, we're back at it. Bob says, proud of myself for sitting out all this time. Yeah, listen, guys, if you have trouble, you know, like doing this for a little bit, if you've sat out while like waiting the last hour and 15 minutes for Trump to speak and now be finished speaking, that's a win. That's a win, man. Because, I mean, realistically, again, if you're trading price action, do we have any kind of edge while Trump is speaking and the algos are tapped into every little thing that he says? Probably not. Probably not. So sitting out, you should be proud of that if that's something you struggled with. And we can get right back to it the minute he's done. All right, it feels like we're wrapping up here. We didn't wait all this time to not be certain, though. It does seem, though, I mean, he's got his hands on the desk. It's like he's about to stand up pretty soon here. But we'll wait him out, and as soon as he's done, we're going to start hitting stuff here. All right, well, he finishes up. I'm going to take a very quick break. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back, and we'll be hitting trades this afternoon. Well, it's already the afternoon. So very shortly, be back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back. Trump's still finishing up here. Market making just a beautiful move. All right, Trump. Call it a day, stand up, be done, and we can start hitting some trades. Yeah, it's part of the life, man. Sitting around waiting. That was another 5 consecutive bull bodies. 2 smaller, yes, some wicks, but 3 relatively sizable bull bodies in that last little sequence. Obviously earlier, back around, 1 Eastern, noon here on this chart central, we had those 4 shrinking bull bodies. All right, shrinking bull body, wick back, small wick back, but a wick back nonetheless. I'm starting to think that this entire press conference, or I guess announcement, is essentially about the World Cup here. The longer this topic goes on, we keep circling back to the World Cup. I don't know if we're heading toward anything else at this point. I think we might finish up in the World Cup. I mean, that trophy's front and center. It would just be bizarre to go from this to a more serious topic that would really move the market in a big way. Don't you guys kind of agree? That would just be a weird way to take this. Okay. Okay. Well, now I think we can kind of move on, honestly. The longer, again, hey, the concern was, okay, is he going to start with the FIFA announcement and then move into something serious that moves the market, or I guess more serious as it relates to the market? That was the concern. But as we keep circling back to the World Cup trophy front and center, holding the ticket, I think that's about all she wrote, man, as far as the announcements. So I got to tell you, I think now's about time for us to get back to work. We'll keep an eye out. I mean, if we get a headline out of nowhere, we'll keep an eye out. But at some point, there's opportunity cost. And there is a probability that this is only a World Cup announcement the longer this goes on. And we got to get back to work. So I'd say we're just about ready to rock here. All right. 60 seconds out here from this 2-minute bar. Let's get back to it, man. let's get back to it. Let's see if this, well, we have a dual rollover coming between the 2-minute and the 5-minute. Here, let me show you the 5-minute. We'll swap over. Currently looking at a 2-minute chart. Here is what the 5-minute chart looks like. So, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We know that the 5-minute looks like that, so let's head back to the 2. "15 seconds out, I need to see a bull bar closing near its high above the wick there, the previous bar. Stop limit buy out. Very nice. Come on, bulls. Place that. See if we can get a fill, and we will. We'll get a fill. We'll go ahead, and I'm only going to risk the signal bar. Keep that thing tight. Tight. That is less than 10 points of risk. But if we pull on back and take out that signal bar, take my ball, go home. I want quick resolution here. ATR is just below 13, not large at all on the ATR here. Let's see if the bulls can give us a bit of a continued push upside here. Again, ATR here is sitting at 13. Bulls put us a little in the money here thus far, not much. If the bears, and that'll cut us. Let's move on. All right, next bar here is the current bar, of course. We are 45 seconds out. If this does close up as a big bear bar, I'm going to have to wait for another bar. As far as getting short, I need to see 2 very clean bear bars, well, reasonably clean bear bars, to justify getting short for me. Okay, but we have 23 seconds left. We can see a lot of adjustments here on the 2-minute chart, even at the very last second, so we got to keep an eye out. All right, now high a day, by the way, is right up about 23,650. So with an ATR of 12.9, 13, there's plenty of room up there if we do have to take another long stab. But right now, that's not the thought. Minute 17 out. Let's see if this turns into a bear bar. And if we get to close below this previous bar's wick, we'll be able to take a look at that, since this did close as a doji, essentially, but a small bear doji. If this does close up, again, as a bear bar below the previous bar's wick, we'll have something to do here. So we are 20 seconds out. Copy trader engaged. If we see this bear bar closing beneath this wick of the previous bar, low, that low wick, right? The wick low. Yeah, bulls are wicking it back upside. I don't know if we're going to get anything here. Let's keep an eye out for a last second adjustment. There's the rollover, no trade, next bar, 2 minutes. Few headlines here from Trump, by the way, just a couple. He says he'll have another call with Canada soon regarding tariffs. He says we want to be good to Canada. He says I will give Putin a couple of weeks. And he also said I had good talks yesterday with Canada's PM. All right, so keeping an eye out here for any crucial headlines here. Kind of a lot of filler as far as headlines. All right, we are 30 seconds out. If we get a bare body closing beneath the previous bar's wick low, I'm gonna, and it has to be a reasonable size, can't close way the hell down here, right? Then I'm gonna have to try to get short with a stop limit sell. Okay, there's plenty of room to do so. The 20 EMA on the 5 minute is not in the way. A few seconds here. Wicking back. Inside close, no trade. Next bar, 2 minutes. Now, in a clear intraday bull channel like this, I'm not sure I'd call it a trend, but I guess you could call it a trend. Kind of a soft bull trend. I really only need a single bar after an opposing sequence. Of course, for the bears right now, again, for me to get short, I need a couple, at least, consecutive bars. In a situation like this, one is enough if it closes above here. So the decision-making process here for me is easy. Let's see what we get. All right, 20 seconds out, copy trader engaged. If we can get a bull bar closing above the previous bar's wick high, then we'll have to get long using a stop limit buy. Plenty of room to the high of day. And we will. We'll have to place that. We have over 35 points till the high of day up at 650. Plenty of room here for a scalp. Not too concerned about this high itself. Give that about 20 more seconds, see if we can get a fill. Another thing we do have to think about here, by the way, is, you know, hey, does this turn into a channel? We'll look at it if it comes to it, right? We're not going to speculate on channels forming. Otherwise, we would never do anything. No fill after 30 seconds. Got to pull it. Next bar. Minute 26 out. All right, we've got a close coming here in 16 seconds. We would need a very much last second adjustment here. I would need it to the upside to get any kind of entry here. If this did adjust into a big old bear bar, I would still need another bar after it to justify an entry. Based on my rules, my playbook. So inside close on that bar, nothing there. Next bar here, minute 52 out. If you guys are new here, man, hit like on the stream. Appreciate you doing so. Helps out tremendously. All right, we have 45 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Still keeping an eye out. Hey, you know, does this kind of thing start to form? Be a little bit more of a self-fulfilling prophecy here. In the meantime, relatively tight 20-point channel. A little less than 20 points, actually. Gotta keep an eye on that as well. Well, obviously no trade on that last bar here, so next bar, minute 50. And we are looking at a 2-minute chart here, for context. All right, this to me looks like a trading range. ATR falling down to 11.5. All right, 23 seconds out here. I am looking to see, do we get any kind of last second adjustment here in this 2-minute bar to test the higher 25% range of this sideways trading range, or the lower kind of quarter of it? And if we do, I would have to fade that close. It looks like we're going to close up right here as a doji. That is just basically a perfect doji close, which means, well, especially right in the middle of the range, which means I can do absolutely nothing on that close. Next bar, minute 49 out. See if we get something here. right, we are 28 seconds out. For me right now, I am looking at this less like a soft bull channel now, and much more like a trading range, which means if we do get a reasonable bull bar, closing at or very close to its high, even if it's outside of that wick high, I'm gonna have to give that a fade attempt. Let's see if we get that here. We will, and I'm gonna have to slap that short, and I will find a reasonable spot and place our protective stop order. That right there is the most reasonable spot for me, and I'm gonna have to take this bar by bar. Since, of course, my protective order is a little wider than I'd like it to be in this volatility environment, so we'll just take this bar by bar and manage it that way. Man, ATR has fallen. ATR now beneath 11. All right, Bears, take us back into that little trading range. We'll see if the breakout attempt here comes. Minute 5 left here on this 2-minute bar. We'll see how this closes up. And if we do have to do any kind of early management here. Come on, Bears. That's enough out of the bulls. We're not ready to break out quite yet. There we are. Keep it pushing. ATR is 11. That's better than half an ATR. That's just under 7 points. That's 6 3/4 points, which I know feels tight. However, you guys know I'm looking for a half to a whole ATR, and when ATR is above 10, a little better than half an ATR is kind of my minimum, and that's what we just got as we pull back into the middle of this trading range. So let's keep it moving here. We'll look for trade number 5 on the day, because that was trade number 4 on the day. Now, just context here, kind of let you guys in on what I'm thinking. Headline from Trump here, by the way. He says, Intel has agreed to do a deal with the US. Just let you guys kind of into what I'm thinking here. Would it be reasonable for me to hold out for maybe better than a full ATR, like maybe 15 points out of that scalp? Well, I mean, you know, do whatever you want, do whatever makes sense to you. But for me in that situation, when I'm shorting this, looking for a fade back into the range, which is precisely what we got, to look for 15 points, we'd really be pushing the low of that range. Now, what happens to probability as you come back into a range that most people are seeing? Well, probability, think of it this way. I like to think of it this way. As you push toward the outside of a range, the rubber band is taut. As you come back in, it slowly gets less and less taut. I like to think of probability in a range scalp the same kind of way. The probability is probably best near the edge, and it sucks back in. And as you come back and back, the rubber band has less of a reason to come back and back because it's less taut. So as you get toward the middle of the range, it's kind of flopping around, right? So probability is getting worse and worse. So do I want to hold it through for, better than a full ATR? Personally, not really. Now, you run into an issue when ATR is like 5, because it's like, what are you going to do? Scalp for 2.5, 3 points? We've done it. 4th of July comes to mind when volatility was extremely low. Made a little bit of money. But in that scenario, I think it's best to either try to scalp for a full ATR or just walk away at that point, right? Luckily, we're not there yet. ATR is still about 11. All right, this little sideways trading range seems to be kind of helping to kill off our volatility, which is not great. Certainly not ideal. I'd probably draw it like this, honestly. Flat top, flat bottom, little sideways trading range, about 20 points wide. Any tighter than that starts to get really, really tough. 20 is manageable, 30 is better. 20 is, it's doable. At least with a 10 ATR. If the ATR was higher and it was in a 20-point range, I'd be thinking, yeah, that ATR is going to tank and maybe get us stuck in a scalp. But with ATR already down at 10 or 11, the channel being about 20 points wide, makes sense, right? We can structure something that makes logical sense with those numbers. All right, kind of watching the same ideas we had on this bar here, if we can get a similar setup going here on this bar. All right, ATR now sitting 10.5. All right, copy trader engaged. Let's see if we can get a bull bar. I'm not trading off that channel. I just have that out for visual representation of kind of what I'm looking at here. 10 seconds out. If we can get a bull bar closing near the high of this kind of reasonable range, then I will look to see if we can slap on a short. Give this a few seconds, see if we can get a little bit of a push higher, and I wouldn't be against taking that. Still inside, well inside of our 30-second window here. All right, bear's starting to pull back a little bit without us. That's all right. Next bar here. No trade on that bar. We're a minute 35 out. Now we'll clean this up as we go. And we all know that that's there. The reason I'm not a big fan of having the lines actively out all the time, by the way, is because the lines represent a level. They represent a line, right? But in reality, the range itself, the edges of the range itself are a range. It's never an exact line. I think it kind of misrepresents what we're looking at to have those lines out all the time. But I will draw them just so you guys kind of see what I'm looking at. And then we'll pull them and you can kind of get the idea. All right, bulls. All right, 20 seconds out, copy trader engaged. If we do get a third consecutive bull bar here, am I going to bet on the breakout? Nope. I'm going to bet on the range holding with a stop at probably 45.75, 645.75, which is just above the tick of a curl back quite a ways. Limit sell out 645.75. And let me show you, that stop is right above. Actually, we're going to push that to 646.50. There we go. That represents that a little bit better. That level we're looking at back there. All right, Bears, take this right back into the range. This thing ain't ready to break out. This is a range. There you go, Bears. Take it back in. ATR 9.9. Just about a 10 on the ATR. That's tight. Now, again, I'm imagining this bar by bar. Those orders you see out right now are just protective orders. And there is better than half an ATR, and we'll take that. Beauty. All right, next trade. Minute 12 out. Yeah, guys, any of you guys confused? Symbol, top right, it's micros. If I'm trading minis, it would say NQ, but we're trading micros. Obviously, the leader is 1 micro, and then I'm copy trading across accounts. People ask, well, how many micros per account? It's all over the board. All over the board. The average account is going to be somewhere between like 2 to 6 as a starter position. 2 to 6 micros per account. A lot of them are newer accounts are going to be 3. More mature and bigger accounts are going to be maybe 4 or 5. For example, a much newer like 100K static is going to be 2. The total position size is right on screen when I'm in a trade. All right, that's a bigger bear bar, so we'll watch this next bar here, minute 38, out. All right, this is setting up to be maybe an interesting setup for us. It needs to be a very specific close out of this bull bar. I'll explain here. All right, we are 27 seconds out. Copy trader is engaged. Let's see. To take a little scalp stab here and bet on this range that is very clearly there, I need to see this bull body close near its high. I don't like this big wick, but if we can get a last second adjustment, I will try to get long for a push back into the range, 1 or 2 ticks above the close of this bar. If we can close closer to the high, we can't. Too big of a wick. Pull it, no trade, next bar, minute 57 out. Same idea, by the way, applies to this bar, but I would need it to stay small. Small. so we don't push too far back into the range, right? That already is a little big, and above this previous bar's wick high. That's getting too big. That's getting too big. We're pushing too deep into the range. Remember that rubber band conversation we just had? It's getting a little too loose. A little too loose for me to be comfortable putting that risk on. Yeah, you see this? Now, listen, this, for me, this would be a tremendous setup if it closes near the high in the next 8 seconds. We'll see. But, I mean, look. Look. I mean, this would be a tremendous setup if the range was a lot wider to the upside. Okay, here we're coming into arguably the top end of the middle third of this range. Probability there is just loose as all hell. I can't. For me, I can't put that on. I just can't. It would need to be still probably pushing the high end of the lower third of the range for me to still put that on with a stop limit buy. And we're not. We're starting to get toward the high end of the middle third of this overarching full-blown range between the two horizontal blue lines. So, no trade there, obviously. We'll watch this bar, minute 20 out. Let's see if we get something interesting. Now, by the way, when you get this kind of thing going, pretty tight bull trend intraday, bull channel, whatever you want to call that, that turns into this. You draw this a number of ways, right? Turns into that. I'd probably draw it like that. You got to be careful, because sometimes what happens, I don't like to jump the gun on this, but sometimes what happens is you start getting this, and then you push and backfill. Would I get short right now on that hope? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we got to keep an eye on it, right? Another reason why, like, getting long up here with a stop limit buy, for me, probability-wise, is not great. Now, will it work here? Maybe. Who gives a shit? The probability for me says, don't put that on. Can't do it. All right, we're minute 38 out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. You know, if you guys are new here, hey, subscribe to the channel. I'm live scalping every single day that the market is open. Happy to have you. All right, we're 45 seconds out here. Let's see if we get anything more interesting than a doji on this 2-minute bar. Right now, it's not looking so promising, is it? But let's, well, now. All right, bears. All right, calm down. All right, we're 20 seconds out. Let's see if we get something interesting here. A nice low close out of the bears Even if it's beneath this curl, I would still get long using a limit order to bet back on the range. Stop here would be reasonable. Let's see. Come on, Bears. Take it a little lower for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a limit buy, 1 tick below that curl, and we'll give that 10 more seconds, see if we can get a push down and a fill. If we don't, in the next 3 seconds, I don't want to participate. No fill, pull it, no trade. Next bar here, minute 42 out. You know, when you're scalping, man, you gotta be kind of a baby about it sometimes. Sometimes if you don't get what you want, you just gotta take your ball and go home. It's all right. All right, now that we're getting a little bit of a harder push. You see this bar here? That was a doji. It was a small bear doji, but a doji nonetheless. Bears barely eked it out. And you got a bigger bear bar. Third consecutive bear body. Let's see how this closes up. 40 seconds out. Ooh, wait a second. We're coming right into the 20 EMA on the 5 minute. The 20 EMA on the 5 minute chart, just for context here, is right where my cursor is at. 590. That's the 20 EMA on the 5 minute chart, which was enough to stop me from getting short, even on a decent close here, just because we've seen some hang up. And in a lower volatility environment like we're seeing here today, 11.5 on the ATR, oftentimes something as silly as a self-fulfilling prophecy on a popular EMA like the 20 on the 5 is enough to give me enough hang up that, you know, maybe I don't get what I want quite as quickly as far as resolution out of the trade. That's enough to stop me. We don't have to make that decision right now anyway, because we got a wick back, very small bear body. Next bar here, minute 53. Guys, remember what we just talked about? We talked about this kind of hard intraday bull trend, whatever you want to call that, into this, right? And then what did we just talk about? You got to keep an eye on this kind of thing. Now, I prefer to not look at that until it's painfully obvious, because it can stop you from taking some trades in a way that I don't know is entirely justifiable. It starts to get a little more wishy-washy, but that's only 2 touch points here. 3 touch points to me would be a bit harder of a sell. If we do, though, get a bull close, closing just barely above this previous bar's wick high, then I'm going to have to think about getting long, because that's still at the high end of the lower third of the overarching channel. Okay, even in the face of this, am I willing to challenge that? Yeah, I am. I am. Let's see if we get that here. 7 seconds. Need to see it close above 607. Not there, no trade. Next bar here, 2 minutes. All right, similar idea here on this bull body, though. It would have to really thread the needle for me to take an entry. I'll explain. All right. We are 27 seconds out. Copy trader ready to rock. If we see this bar flip into a bull bar and closes right above, it would need to thread the needle. Right above the previous bar's wick high and not a whole heck of a lot higher, honestly. I would hit a limit buy order to try to get long, but it has to stay right at the high end of the lower third of this overarching channel. We're not going to get it. No trade, 2 minutes. Next bar here. Yeah, this price action scalping is by far my favorite way to trade. I mean, listen, I know I get it, and even just a few years ago, I was very much in the mindset from the beginning. Like, I don't care if I'm having fun. Am I getting the result that I want? Am I enjoying myself? Don't give a shit. Am I getting what I want? And that only lasts so long because you start getting what you want, you start getting the result, and then you just kind of want to also enjoy doing it. Don't make that mistake from the beginning. Be a hard ass as far as your discipline. And discipline goes for managing trades, taking winners, cutting losses, and not entering. And it also goes for entering when you need to, even when you're scared. Be a hard ass as far as your discipline, but you gotta enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, what the hell's the point? I mean... Really starting to push back toward the middle of this. It's starting to get kind of tough to call it the high end of the lower third of this channel, I gotta tell you. So we're 5 seconds out. Yeah, this is starting to pretty much be the 50% retracement point of the channel itself. So we'll go to the next bar here, 2 minutes, and see if we get something more interesting, a bit more workable here. Hey, good to hear it, Bo. That's all I can ask. All right, I gotta tell you, I mean, goodness, any of you guys looking at a 5-minute chart? Here, let me pull it up. Oh my God, you guys see this? That's what a 5-minute chart looks like right now. So we're gonna go ahead and pretend that that's not there, because that is ugly and I don't want to think about that. We're back on a 2-minute where things look a little more reasonable. ATR is 10.7, which is workable. We can work with that. 27 seconds out. Copy trader engaged. If we do get a bear close near the low of this range, I'm going to have to think about getting long for a little scalp. We'll keep risk reasonably tight. I can keep it tighter the lower in the range that we close, so I'd like to see this come down a little bit, but copy trader is ready to go. Hotkeys locked in. Bears give us a little lower push. Quick resolution to the downside here. And I will have to hit a limit buy. Limit order out, and we will. We'll get a fill. I'm going to suck up my risk to just beneath that wick that you guys see to the left of the screen back here. And I'll also manage bar by bar. I'll leave this up there because we're going to take this bar by bar anyway and see if the bulls can just take this back into the range. ATR is 10. So again, we're managing bar by bar here. That goes for profit taking and risk, though protective orders are out, both to the upside, of course, in case we get news. I want to stay exposed to that. And of course for our risk management. But to manage early, I would need to get, you know, a bar that would be a signal bar to put me short, which would be a sell decision, which when I'm long would put me flat, if that makes sense. So come on, bulls, do it to him. Take it right back up into the range. Right into the range now, come on. Good, good. ATR is 10. Need a little better than that, bulls. Come on now. Didn't quite get to our half an ATR. Didn't get there. Looking for a bit better than half an ATR. Here's another push attempt. Come on now, bulls. Fade this little downside attempt right back up into that range. A little bit of heat taken on is okay, by the way, because again, the bottom end of this range in and of itself is kind of a range, if that makes sense. It's never an exact line. I don't want you guys to take those lines I have drawn out literally. All right, no decision, of course, to be made on that tiny little wiki bear bar. So next bar here, minute 50 out. Again, a signal bar here that closes as a short entry. Since I'm sitting long, would put me flat. That would be an early management. Otherwise, we have our protective orders out. ATR just dipped below 10. We're at 9.9 now on the ATR. Let's see if the bulls can get the job done here and fade it back up into the range. Tell these bears to pack it in. We're not ready to break out quite yet. Not quite yet, bears. All right, bulls, do it to him. Come on now. $33 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. For me to cut this thing early, I would need to see it close, of course, beneath this bar's wick, so beneath like 594, and of course still above our protective stop. That for me would be an opportunity to manage this thing early. And yes, I say opportunity because that is an opportunity. Management is an opportunity. It's a good thing. Here comes the rollover, 5 seconds. I don't know if we're going to get that opportunity. Yeah, no decision to be made there. Inside close. So next bar it is here, 2 minutes out. That's going to push lower. Let's see if the bears actually get a little bit more breakout than what they originally had here. We're currently testing the 20 EMA on the 5. Of course, you can't expect that to just hold up to the tick. But likely to have some buyers try to step in around that. Again, that 20 EMA on the 5 is nothing more, nothing less than simply a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we've got 90 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Decision making here is easy. It's done for me based on the rule book, right? All right, come on now, bulls. Fade it back up into that range. 40 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Ten seconds here. Very unlikely to be a decision bar here. Big wicks on either side. Let's see here. Very small bear body. Okay, so at this point in the trade, my decision making just got even easier. The way that this is developing, you get these big wicks. Again, this is for me here. For you can manage however you'd like. For me, when this kind of thing happens, now risk is offloaded to the computer because I wouldn't get short on that bar. So what does that mean? And there we go. Risk is offloaded to the computer. That'll stop us out. Let's move on. Minute 38 out here on this next 2-minute bar. And here, let's clean up as we go. All right, 60 seconds here. That 20 EMA on the 5-minute is sitting at about 592. So the bears are trying to take it down through. You can see the bulls kind of trying to wick that back upside. Not doing so hot. We'll see how this bar closes up. 45 seconds. All right. 27 seconds out. I got to get the copy trader engaged. If we get a clean bear bar closing near its low, has to be beneath 589.50, which is the previous bar's wick low, then I will be using this weapon of a stop limit sell order and placing it to try to get short. Let's see, bears. They will do it. That is barely beneath. I will give that 15 seconds. That's a B setup. B setups don't earn 30 seconds. Waiting on fills, they earn 15. 5 more seconds, see if we get a fill. If not, I do not want to participate. No fill, pull it. Next bar here. Let's see how this closes up. Minute 40 out. All right. Let's see what we get here out of the bulls. We are 25 seconds out here. After 5 consecutive bear bodies, inconsistent bear bodies, but bear bodies nonetheless, if the bulls, it needs to be solid. If the bulls give us a close near this candle high, above the previous bar's wick high, then I'm using this guy. That is called a stop limit buy. And we are not going to get it. There's the rollover inside close. No trade. Next bar, minute 58. All right, here we go. We got an attempt. We've got an attempt at consecutive bull bodies here, but we have, you know, a minute 25 left, so we'll see. We'll see if this turns into anything reasonable. Range on this bar here already almost 14 points. ATR 10.5. Gotta keep an eye on this. Am I willing to challenge it? I am. If the if the close is clean enough. If and only if. Big old wick backside. Now, by the way, we are kind of getting pinned to the 20 EMA on the 5. That's rated about 592, 593-ish as we currently sit, which is where we're trading at right now. So let's see if we can get a bit more definitive nature to this price action here. Minute 38 out from the close. ATR 10.2. By the way, if you guys haven't hit it yet, Take Profit Trader is 40% off, no activation fee, which is ridiculous when you use code BIG, B-I-G, baby. That will give you the best deal all the time, but right now that deal is damn good, makes the numbers look tremendous over at Take Profit Trader, which I am trading right now, Take Profit Trader. One of the firms I'm trading right now. All right, 30 seconds out. We're still pinned, man, at that 20 EMA here on the 5 minute. You are looking at a 2 minute, which is also what I'm looking at, but keeping an eye on that 5 minute out of the corner of my eye, and we're pinned at the 20 EMA. Price having a really hard time right around that level with this lower volatility environment. Again, ATR about 10. Mm-hmm. 90 seconds out here. All right, we are 30 seconds out from the close of this 2-minute bar. If the bulls can take this 4th consecutive bull body, sloppy in the middle too, but if they can, I'm going to look at that and say, nope, I'm betting against it. 10 seconds out, see that little descending channel that's very clearly forming. If the bulls give us an inside close inside of this wick and near its own high, yep, that'll give me an opportunity to do this. I'm going to put out a limit sell order. 1 tick. Maybe 2 ticks. Yeah, we'll go 604 even. And it's even going to pop up in the next 7 seconds here. Give me a fill. If not, do not want to participate. All right, pull that, no trade. Next bar here, minute 38. All right, 56 seconds. If the bulls can keep this bar reasonable, all of a sudden, I'd like to bet more on the descending range than some giant breakout. But scalping, I got to keep things reasonable as far as width, right? I can't go and risk the whole curl. I mean, I suppose I could actually. It's only 20 points, but I'm not going to. Copy trader is engaged. Let's see how the bulls close this up. I'd like to see a close ideally above this previous bar's wick high. Yeah, that's a sizable wick on this bar here. So I'm going to hold off. Next bar, minute 58. All right, 70 seconds out here. 6 consecutive bull bodies. A little sloppier, but it's starting to clean up just a tad. How this body closes up is gonna change my decision making. I don't like to see that. 55 seconds. You can tell, both sides with ATR below 10, both sides seem a little bit insecure. All right, 23 seconds out. Copy trader engaged. Come on, bulls. If the bulls can give us a reasonable close here above that previous bar's wick high, 607.50. Let's get the stop limit buy out. Let's see here. Bulls will close that at 608. Beauty. And I will risk just the signal bar. Come on, bulls. Push through. Push through. ATR 9.5. Risk is tight on this scalp. But in a low volatility environment, for me to structure it, Can't make a whole lot of sense of structuring a trade with much more than just the signal bar. Well, bulls put us in the money quickly, quick resolution, just not quite enough. I need at least a little better than half an ATR. We'll struggle a little bit with this little wick. Wants to take a little bit of time. Again, low volatility. It's all right. It's all right. We're covered as far as, keeping the wrist tight. We're not going to get stuck in this trade for, 45 minutes, at least ideally. Which is always nice when we're covered that way. Now, if I went and risked the full curl, we could, that could be a thing. This curl here. Maybe you get stuck in the trade for 58 minutes. This time of day, afternoon, not interested in that occurring. There's a decent push out of the bulls. Get a little bit better. ATR below 9, 8.95 here. Yeah, just want to get a little bit better than half an ATR to make the structure of this trade make sense. Bear's trying to step in and say nope to that little breakout attempt. That was a growing bull body, which is very good to see, and that was the 7th consecutive bull body. These two, of course, ugly. But that is 7 consecutive bull bodies. Bear's coming in, testing our tight little risk. See if they take us out. Close! Within a tick, maybe two. Bulls put us a little in the money, not quite enough. Let's see if the Bears do it to us here. $50 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. And they will. We'll cut it there. All right. Good risk management there. That was trade number 7 on the day. Volatility's a little bit low. Again, it's late afternoon. ATR of 10 is a little bit tight. At least for this week. But, Friday afternoon, not unexpected. Couldn't get quite, we were maybe a couple points out from being able to pull that trade, but hey, sometimes it happens. When it gets close to your take profit, turns around, stops you out, you always think, yeah, I'm the victim. Guess what? When it gets within a tick or two of your stop loss, turns around, hits your take profit, you don't think about it that way. Happens both ways, man. Keep a level head. All right, minute 20 out here. Let's see what we get as far as a close out of the Bears. right, 25 seconds out. Copy trader is engaged. Very much so depends how this bear bar closes, because we know this is turning more into, I would call it kind of an expanding wedge at this point. You could call this maybe a flat top. And then what you might call descending support, or what a lot of people might call descending support. But for me, I'm looking at this little low. Are there a tremendous amount of stops? No. That's a little wicky anyway on that bear bar, so I'm going to have to hold off. Next bar here, minute 58. ATR still below 10, 9.6. All right, we're 15 seconds out here. Let's see. We get a last second adjustment here out of the bears. That's going to close up as a doji. All right, guys. Hey, listen, that's going to do it for the live show here. Pharaoh Friday, baby. Few wins, few losses here. Kind of a mixed bag here today. Listen, hey, if you're not subscribed to the channel, I'm going to be live again here on Monday morning. We'll be scalping. And if you don't, you better be using code BIG for the best deal always. Take Profit Trader and Apex, baby. All right, guys. Hey, by the way YouTube works nowadays, if you have trouble finding the stream, hit like on this one. Monday morning, my mug will be front and center on your YouTube page, if you would like that. All right, guys. All right. See you Monday, guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of your afternoon. Market closes here in an hour. Have a good power hour. See you soon. See you Monday.